my compadre from NFL Game Day Morning and Pro Football Hall of Famer, Michael Irvin. How are you, Irv?
Rich, I'm doing great, Rich. I'm happy and looking forward to this little show we're about to do.
Yes.
And even seeing the movement. And I can only be this happy seeing the movement knowing that my guy will not be moving.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
TCB, taking care of business. And I was saying, it does, you know what, I mean, obviously it matters how much Jerry Jones, paid for Dak Prescott if it takes away from the rest of the salary cap. But they actually lowered his number for this year when the number's lower, so maybe they'll be able to make some hay. But, as somebody we just heard, again, in our Peacock-only segment, for those who might have missed it on our radio show, you telling a story about Jerry Jones making you laugh when he was telling you no about a contract for more money. And what do you think? How should Dak take it when he sits next to Jerry, who says that anything that's ever been worth it, he's overpaid for? How do you think Dak should take that comment, Michael?
Well, and if you've heard Jerry talk, and I'm sure Dak has heard Jerry talk many a times, honestly, many a times, he's always used that analogy when anything he thought had great value. Because he said he'd overpaid for it, it still means he says it has great value, that I would overpay for it. See, this thing goes both ways. And then he also said that always have proven to be a good thing. So absolutely. I don't know. I wouldn't be taking that as a slight, especially since he just paid me 100 millies over the last 2 years. 30 that year, last year, and 75 this year.
Settle down just a little bit.
There he goes. Just chimed in.
That's what I'm saying right there. That's what I'm saying. Y'all know what? Let me tell y'all this, man. And it's funny, dog. I'm not – Rich, yes. I was with Stephen Jones, me, Dak, Jerry. We were all at a party a couple of years ago at the Super Bowl, right? And we were all hanging out. And Stephen, of course, I had a few in us and hanging out. Steve said, boy, you know what, Michael, man, listen. We were talking about Dak Prescott. He said, man, one day, if he continues down his path, I'm going to have to write a check for $200 million to him. I said, oh, come on, Steve, 200? I thought he was crazy. Basically, he just wrote that check for $200 million. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Now comes the hard part, though, because now that he's been paid like this, and the team is going all in here with he and Cooper and Zeke chewing up a chunk of the cap, to say the least, if not a quarter or more than a quarter on this team, and just 3 players. Where do the Cowboys rank going into 2021? I know that free agency hasn't landed and the draft hasn't landed yet, but what the level of expectation will be. What's their expectation in your mind?
We're looking at cap hits, available cash under the cap. Dallas has already made, I think, significant improvement by just going back to what they did before on defense, making that decision in the offseason on the style of defense that you'll go back to playing. I think that's going to make a huge difference. And you talk about the pressure that's put on Dak. Rich, I'm going to tell you something, and everybody you hear talk about it, that's how he performs. That's the best place. And that's how he performs. So I'm not worried about that either. I'm looking forward to it. And it does change once you get that money. Once you get that kind of money, oh my God, you got to be God on the football field just about. And that kind of pressure will be sitting on Dak's back. And I can't wait to see how he answers the bell, because he has always answered the bell.
All right, so then let's get specific then, since you just did not. NFC East, you expect them to win that, 2021?
Let me tell you something. It was a shoo-in. I listen, I was like, it's over. Are you joking?
Shoo-in?
I was telling Stephen A. the other day, it's over. The NFC East, they'll win that. And Rich, no joke. And Ryan Fitzmagic signed with Washington. And I started saying, why did he do that? Because I'm just telling you, listen to me. Ryan Fitzmagic can take that stuff he does over to Washington, and they can get somewhere and do something. I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about that.
I don't blame you.
I respect him enough that's a possibility right there. That was a move that just I didn't like too much.
I bet. And because with that defense, and obviously
right.
he might turn it over a little bit more than what Ron Rivera would like. But I mean, the way he's going to try and jam it in the window to McLaurin and Logan Thomas and the running game, and I would be concerned about that. But you still think shoo-in for Dallas in the NFC East? Okay, so then let's go higher up. Do you think with Dak being re-signed, Dan Quinn being brought in to run a defense that you think is more, familiar with the personnel? And I think that a lot of people were saying that was a big problem with their defense last year. And we'll put aside why Dallas even considered that to begin with, but that's the past. So now what about Green Bay? Do you think Dallas is better than Green Bay going into 2021? Just first blush right now?
I think Dallas will play a good game with Green Bay in the playoffs, absolutely, with a chance of winning that football game, absolutely.
Okay.
Especially with the offensive line that will get back the guys that are healthy, but also the guys that have to step in now, they have that experience. So to be the backup, so if these guys, Tyron, doesn't hold up, you got somebody now with some sustainable ability to back it up. Absolutely, I do.
Okay. Let's go further up the flow chart then. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, your defending Super Bowl champs, who you were so all over in the Super Bowl as if you were all over them for all 26 weeks. That's okay. That's the past. We can forget about that too. The Buccaneers, do you think the Cowboys are going to be better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2021 first blush as we're sitting here right now that Dak's in the fold and there's some more draftees, et cetera, coming?
And here's the issue. Here's the situation there.
Okay.
Because you want to put it out as if you got me in a corner here with this. But let me tell you how I pick
No.
to be. No. Don't try to pin me against this wall.
No. I don't know where you're picking up that tone from, Michael. I don't understand. Where are you getting that from? I don't know.
Dallas has the physical talent that even playing with a few bad decisions within a game can still take over and beat the Green Bay Packers and move on. Now, here, Dallas also has the physical talent, at least offensively, because if that line is intact, that'll slow down those guys up front. The physical talent to compete with Tampa Bay. But it will have to be the perfect game. The perfect game in order for them to beat, because Tom isn't going to make many mistakes. So that's how I would drop that answer. Now the question could be, could they get to the perfect game? And I'm willing to see.
Oh, obviously that could definitely happen. All right. So should I even ask you about the Chiefs, or are you going to accuse me of trying to box you in here? But
no. The Chiefs are good too. They how to sound interesting how everybody's reacting. Everybody's reacting to what just happened in 19. That's what. So that first day is like we're going okay. You know what ended our season last year? That's the first thing we're going after. And the Chiefs, we talked about tackles and Fisher being out, but what really ended it was they came right up the middle of that field, and Patrick Mahomes had nowhere to go. Sometimes even the tackles, you still get a pocket that he steps up in,
right,
and then. Well, so he gets 5 steps backwards or 7 steps backwards and a few steps forward, and that's all it takes. Tyreek Hill way past you by then, it's over. But when the dude came right up the middle, they couldn't even do that, and they solidified that by stealing the Patriots.
Michael Irvin here on the Rich Eisen Show. This tweet caught my eye. I don't know if you saw it. If you didn't. I can describe it for you as we put it up on the screen. It's Deandre Hopkins tweeting out a photograph of him looking very happy in a Cardinals uniform, and it's his 1-year anniversary mood because it was 1 year ago today that he learned that the Cardinals were acquiring him from the Texans. And the first thought I had, Michael, was to also ask you about this, is how do you think that's playing in the phone or timeline of Deshaun Watson today in the middle of free agency right now? What do you think, Michael?
Right.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's Rich.
Or is that a leap? Is that too much of a leap? You tell me.
Yeah, I tell you. But what you're saying is, how much did that strengthen his position for him as he sees this? You know, when he said, okay, I'm willing to do what it takes, even if I have to take it to that 10th level, you know, or the 12th level. That's after the clock strikes midnight, you know, where I sit out and stuff. How much is he willing to give to have that and not go back to what he had? So, yeah.
Because I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, because you're seeing it, you know what it means. You know, when old school general managing or old school management, certainly when they think that they bestowed upon you a contract worthy of your talent in terms of money and security and no trade clause, that you know when battle stations come to it, that eventually, you know, right now we're saying, hey, you know what, there's no deadline until the draft anyway. Free agency is not that big of a deal. And then if the draft comes and goes and there is no trade, then all of a sudden this sends things in a totally different realm where you're going to force the player to choose between his money and his principles. And then when that happens, things can go completely sideways. And again, seeing a photograph of his teammate, his all-pro teammate from back in the day, now teammates with another one of his all-pro teammates from the Houston Texans that was just, you know, allowed to walk free, you know, and we understand that change.
Over there.
Well, I know. And that they're both there now. I just saw that, and I'm really not trying to stir anything up. I'm trying to give real talk here about how it might land in the palm of someone's hand to see that photograph, you know?
Yeah. And I'm telling you, Rich, but just like you said, they know there's something down inside of Deshaun also. And I say that their approach has been, you know, I don't know what they can say publicly, but if I'm them, I'm backdooring all the other players. You guys got to call Deshaun. You got to, because he's more apt to bend to them, to his other players, to the other teammates, than he is to management. So I'm going to play. If I'm on that team, man. I'm gonna move in. I'm gonna move in and be talking to him, trying to figure it out to help that situation.
Right.
I think he has a shot if it comes from players, but no shot coming from upstairs.
Are you getting set to suit and boot for the show right now? Am I hearing closet doors open and close? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I'm
right
moving
now?
from one to the other, Rich. You know, as I'm getting dressed, Rich, I like to try to get some curls works in, you know, try to work out stuff. That's why I built the gym here. But then I moved to the studio to get ready to talk football while I'm getting my curls and my abs in. You know, of course, I'm watching the shows and preparing and studying and everything like that.
I understand.
Rich,
but are you trying to get swole before appearing in a suit? Is that what you're saying to me? I don't understand. Are you going to show up in a Hoculus medium on NFL Network at the top of the hour?
No. But the feeling, Rich, you're just looking at the outer casing.
Yes.
What really radiates the outer casing is the inner man. So that gets me in that moment.
Okay.
Like I'm about to go now.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Irv. Well, you go ahead. You know, I know you're going to get ready for everything, and I appreciate the time right here. And, you know, I really wasn't trying to box you in on anything. You know, I'm just, you know, that the clock's ticking here. I mean, Jerry Jones was on the show before the 2020 season, just at the outset, saying that he said that he asked the good Lord when you had just 2 trophies, that if you bestow us with a third, I'll never ask for another. And now he's admitting I'm asking again. You know, like literally is what he's saying. I mean, time is short here. He's got to get this thing done right now with these guys. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you know, and Jerry knows. You know, at the time he made that. God understood how important it was. But God's a forgiving God too now, Rick. He's a forgiving God. He says, Jerry come back begging, he can forgive Jerry and let him win another one.
Yes, Lord.
That's all. I know he made that promise, but he can forgive Jerry and let him win another one because that's what we'll have a chance to do, buddy.
All right,
I'm
Irv.
just telling you.
Okay.
I don't have the
I'll
patience
tell
to
you.
jack with
This
you
is going to
today.
be
Okay.
the greatest. I can't wait to see what comes out of Dak Prescott after going through all he's been through. Just the stories of it. I'm telling you, I love the journeys. I can't wait to see what comes out of it.
I'll see you at the top of the hour on NFL Network, Michael. Thanks for the call.
Absolutely, buddy.
Right back at you. That's Michael Irvin. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.